Hello. How are you? I'm learning ASL. So I figured I can do little introductions with that. With the virtual, you know, you don't really so much absolutely have to use ASL, but because there can be captions, but it's still nice to play along with it. I love language learning. I love all the things, culture, language for everybody and always. I'm like, why not? There's like this beam of glory light above me. If it's not distracting, I'll just keep it kind of fun. Welcome to chair yoga again. Hopefully, this is again for you. Hopefully, you've come to another class. If you haven't, welcome if this is your first one. If you would like, you could have blocks. If you would like, you could have the yoga strap. We're just going to breathe. Welcome ourselves to our space. Take this time to if you want to have some calm music on, I always recommend YouTube lo-fi, uh, Spotify meditation music, or maybe you have like a CD or MP3 or something. You have like everyone I know has like two phones, one phone for like Wi-Fi entertainment and one for themselves. So there's like you have your old phone, if it's connected to Wi-Fi, play the music so then it doesn't interrupt the Zoom. Just because when I do music through the Zoom, it can be some, I don't know. It's either way. It's preference. But I haven't found the way to perfect it to what I would think is perfection so that you could hear me clearly and hear the music. It's just the volume level. Like try to raise the voice, but then the volume of the song it gets higher, and then it's like, well, you can't even hear me. So another way is just taking the practice silent, and just following along to the video or to what I'm saying and making the practice your own. I'm just here to guide the way, share space. Thank you for inviting me into your space at this time. This is a class you can do at any time, and I am gonna set the clock really quick, just so that it so I don't go over. You know, don't go over. So there we go. Awesome. Okay, so and the reason I say if again, then you've probably seen me use the strap and the blocks. I also have some videos on how to use straps and blocks in various ways. So I'll put links to that when I post this, when this is posted. If now you're watching this and it's posted, there are links below to give you some ideas that'll link to some of that on how to support. But I'll also do it in class today, here, in this moment, this time, whatever your today is. So go ahead and move the body, stretch what you need, shake anything out. This is a restful chair yoga to assist with balance. Some of the classes are fully seated, some are standing, or I'll give adaptations to standing. And as I said, kind of make it your own. So do what works for you and your body. If you want to do everything seated, if you want to just like, you just need a moment, just lay and it's just being. It's a great time for that also, but you might want to set a timer so that if you doze off, you'll wake up in time for whatever's next that you need to do. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to actually tend to start with the upper body, but today we're going to start with the lower body and move our way up. So we're going to start with the feet. This can be dependent on where you find yourself, what you're sitting on, if you're in the bed or on a chair, if you have like stirrups, then the feet may not touch the floor. If you're wearing shoes, be cautious because shoes are made to keep kind of ankles and things intact. So you might not have the same mobility as me. If you're in socks, be careful if you're on a non-carpeted floor because that can become slippery. But if you're on a carpeted floor, then you might have socks and then it becomes more like sticky and stuck. So just be mindful of your space. It's really just about awareness You're coming into like where you find yourself, what's underneath you, what's around you, what's above you. And so take a breath and we're going to start with the toe stretch. And here it starts really, even before we get to the toes, it starts with the mind. So with the mind, it can be just thinking about moving the toes, stretching the toes. I took dance. I still take dance classes. So there's a lot of mobility down there with my toes because I've always just moved them and stretched them and all those things. So it's kind of just like something just naturally that my body has grown into doing continually. So if only one of your toes moves, if your toes don't really want to move at all, still keep thinking for this next few moments. Moving the toes, wiggling the toes. You could close your eyes and envision your toes moving. And then do that. So the hands, the body, upper body can be kind of wherever. Make sure you feel safe and sturdy so that your chair is not going to fall over. So if I do something and I'm reaching something and you start to feel like your chair is maneuvering or moving or lifting, then, balance that weight on your seat. I don't know what you're sitting on, so I can't see when something is happening. Oh my gosh. Life, Google listening, putting ads on while recording, right? I use like a real-time clock and I usually just click on whatever website it comes up. And of course, computers, tech, they're always trying to mess something up. So go ahead again and we'll start to think about those toes moving, toes lifting, toes dropping. I do find it interesting that when I talk about the mind and thinking about the toes moving with the mind, that's when the computer starts talking. So that's a different conversation though. So go ahead and the feet can be connected. They can be raised. Just think about moving those toes. Maybe you're looking at those toes moving. Just wiggling them around, nothing crazy. Remember to breathe. Maybe relax the spine as you're moving the toes or thinking about moving the toes, envisioning the toes moving in your mind. And then you'll come to a stop. We're going to go into some point and flex. Once again, envisioning it in the mind. Everybody's feet are different. The point and flex can start to break into the shin and the calves. So if your shin and your calves are feeling tight, like sometimes for me, I feel it, especially when I go into the flexing in my shin, still envision it. Go ahead and find your point and flex. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like. So that's the point and flex. So that's what we're doing here. And I'm a little close to the camera. So I'm trying to show some point and flex. The toes point away, toes raised towards the sky or ceiling. Let's take a few more. Go as slow or as fast or as long as you'd like. Either position. All right. Move on to the ankles. So you can kind of shake out the feet side to side or up and down or whatever you need there. And then we're going to find some ankle circles in one direction, or maybe they both go outward. And then take it inward, or go the opposite direction than you are. Here, little crinkles, little whatnots going on. I'm wearing like tennis shoes a lot past couple of days. So today I was like back in my flip-flops. Felt amazing. So my ankles are like, oh, we've been been in the same position for most of the days. All right. Let's get some release, some relief off the feet there. So this next one's going to vary too, based on if you're up and you're away, that's okay. Take a moment to rest, let the feet rest. If you're connected to floor, you're going to allow your tail to come a little bit forward. And then you're just going to lift the heels, allowing the toes and the foot to press into the mat. And so I'm going to go a little bit sideways here. So I'm lifting the heels, pressing those toes into the mat. I could bring the feet closer. That's going to dive a little bit deeper into the toes. Bring it closer. It's going to dive a little bit deeper into the toes. It's also going to stretch into the calf. I talked about this last time. I've been reading a little bit more about this, but like stretching your nerves so much more so than your muscles. And it's very interesting to like dive into this, especially when we get into our hamstrings, our quads, our thighs, our groin. Just because I pulled something and it wasn't my muscle. It was I pulled the nerves and I stretched the nerves too quickly. And talk about getting into the fascia, talk into and how important it is, and these differences of when we stretch our body, we are stretching all of those pieces and parts. But when you get into focused or concentrated stretching on a certain area or thing, it can change where the stretch really goes depending on other parts of the body. And that's something that happens in the lower body a bit. You could end up stretching more so your nerves before breaking into the stretching into the muscles and the fascia and things. So this helps us to break, more into those muscles and stretching. And you're going to relax the heels down. Then you're going to press the heels into the mat and you're going to lift the toes and the front of the foot up. So we'll just talk about that and all sorts of things while we're stretching. Why not? You're going to release down. This next one might be a little bit tricky. You might want to take a little more space in between the feet. You might not want to do this one at all if you're in shoes. You're going to lift up on the inside of the foot. It's going to allow to start opening up through the legs, the groin, up into the thighs. And you're just allowing this opening, lifting the toes up. And so you may only lift your toes up a little bit, or you can take it all the way out. It's going to kind of lengthen through the feet too. I'm going to bring it down. Kind of shake out the legs. And we're going to do the opposite. We're going to lift up on the pinky. So you might want to go a little bit more than hip width apart for this next one. And lift up on the pinky. You don't have to go as far now because it's going to kind of bring the knees in together. So you want to be mindful of that. You're just going to spread those pinky toes out if you choose to. It's kind of like a little spreading there. Toe pinky can come in, it can go out. I don't know, maybe it doesn't move at all, but then it's thinking about lifting that side of the foot up, lifting, spreading those pinky toes away from the feet. Bring it back down. Awesome. Shake it out. I'm gonna stay sideways. I kind of like this. I feel like it makes more sense. But I also tend to just be like all over the mat when I teach, whether I'm standing, sitting, whatever. I'm all over. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and come up more into the legs. So shake or tap anything out of the feet. If something no longer resonates, it's asking for release. Get back to the earth. Let go and breathe. We're going to go in and we're going to start with just cross legs gently, and then we're going to move up to make it a deeper figure four or seated pigeon. So there's different options you have. You could bring the foot just in closer if that's all that wants to happen. That's fine. You could bring the foot across. That's fine. You could take it and cross it all the way over, and that's fine. So whichever one of those works for you, find your balance in your chair. It's going to be a compound stretch. We're going to dive into the upper body. You're going to lift the arms up towards the sky. Lengthen. Exhale, twist to one side. The arms drop out to side and back body. Exhale, twist. You're going to go ahead. You're going to slowly return to center. Arms are going to rise. Inhale, lengthen, then exhale, twist the opposite direction than you just did. I'm going to do that again. Inhale to center. Exhale, twist back to that first direction. And release, return to center. Exhale back to that second side. I am not with it in my phone today and tech. I'm going to bring it all back to center. Arms raise and rise. Lengthen, exhale, allow the fingers to drift down, the arms to drift down through center, down to left. We're going to repeat that on the opposite side, but before we do, I'm you're going to stay crossed. You're going to slowly move into your figure four if you so choose, or you can stay crossed. I'm going to turn off my sound. I'm just like not with it. Human. I am human. Get excited for one thing, forget about the other things. So you can stay crossed if you prefer, or you have that option to move into a figure four. Just make sure that you're not too much on the knee. You want to bring that leg in a little bit closer. You could flex the foot here. Your hand could wrap around the toes. Use same side hand that's over that knee that's out to one side, but don't press the knee down. You want to allow it to get into the thigh and just allow your upper body to kind of become dead weight. The hands, arms, upper body becomes dead weight over the lower body to help us stretch. So you could stay here and lengthen, or you do have that option to forward fold. Check, and you want to make sure that that leg that's connected to floor, that that knee is not falling out, but that it's staying in center, staying aligned with the hips. Your vision goes maybe just past your mat if you have a mat underneath you, or just kind of just past the feet. And you're going to feel this stretch, possibly lower body, possibly into the lower back. Relax the shoulders so you don't want to feel crunched. You want to lengthen. You can kind of see that when I'm here, versus lengthening and staying in alignment with my spine. So my neck doesn't want to, kind of burrow or move. It just stays in alignment with the spine, which I know it can be hard because if you're in a yoga class or any exercise class, you may want to see what the instructor is talking about. You may want to see what we are doing, which then takes you out of alignment, right? But then it's just resetting and finding that alignment. It's okay. We all do it. If we, have our sight and we're looking at that. Otherwise, maybe you're just listening and following along and you're like, I don't even know what she's talking about, but I'm just going to do my figure four and call it a day. All right, we're going to roll up the spine, release, drop, or with control, allow that first leg to go back down to the floor. For me, that was the right leg. We're going to switch over to the left. So now you're going to cross your opposite leg now, maybe over the opposite side, and you may be doing opposite sides than me because I'm calling out right and left. But if you're following photo, that's all right because we do both sides. So you can keep it crossed gently there. Maybe you just take it here. Maybe you take it here all the way across. And both legs might even in a crossing look different. So just get where, feels good, where it's not discomfortable for you. Find balance and sturdiness in your seat. Raise the arms nice and tall. Lengthen. Exhale, lengthen. And then you're going to inhale, exhale, twist to one direction. We're just going back into those seated spinal twists here. All right, bring it back to center. Lengthen, exhale, twist the opposite direction. Bring it to center. Inhale, lengthen. Back to that first side. Try to slow it down too in the videos so that you have the time that you need to make it to that next position, because it can take a minute to adjust. All right, flow once more to center. No rush, no hurry, no worry. Exhale to that second side once again. We're going to return to center, lengthen those arms towards the sky. Then allow them to rain down the middle, coming down, coming down, coming down. Beautiful. All right, option to stay here or find that figure four. So if you are staying with your leg crossed, I'm just going to lengthen here and forward fold just a tad. I should have said that the first one, but hopefully you kind of got where we were going with that. So, but if you choose to do figure four, maybe it's just here. Maybe that's your figure four, or maybe it's here, adjust the footing. Maybe you don't do it at all. If you don't do your figure four at all, if you're just focused on upper body, and just adapting over here. We're just lengthening through the spine right now. So you don't have to fold all the way over. We're just lengthening. The tail finds grounding in the seat. Your crown ascends at an angle towards the sky. So, but if you're here with me, inhale, exhale, breathe, find what you need in your space. Once again, check in with the spine where you're at, and then float into your figure four, using your upper body to help you open the lower body. We're using our body weight here. Old school, no fancy machines needed, except the transmission going through the phone. I guess that's a fancy machine. Take some time to breathe. Just be checking with that knee. I know I do it sometimes. Knee starts to fall. I'm like, oh, come back to center. It's interesting because I think I've said this in past classes if you've watched stuff that I've done. It's like relaxed stretching. We're talking about stretching, lengthening. Something's active, something's restful, something's opening, something's like, it's like, okay. Like, does that make sense? Like the contradictions of the body and life, yet the transformation. It's like so interesting. Take a couple of breaths and then roll up that spine. Let that leg go with control back down to the earth. Shake, wiggle what you need. All right, we're going to go into a halfway lift before we go into a full forward fold. So we're going to take what we did a little bit deeper, giving our legs and quads a rest, our thighs, our groin a rest. So this can be something where maybe you adapt your body on your seat for what brings comfort to you, because you don't need to be all the way back. You may be all the way back if that's what you need for your practice, but adjust still because sometimes chairs get underneath in the knee pit or they feel a little funny on the thighs. So, like I said, I'm not there. I don't know what you're sitting on. So, just be mindful of that. Some support that you can do for this next stretch. If you have them, you could use blocks. So, if you're looking for some support for this or really any stretch under the feet, you just want to make sure that they stay nice and sturdy. And maybe your feet rest on them. And that too may be too much, depending on the height of the seat. So maybe you have one, but you don't just want your toes on it. You want that full underneath the foot on it. And you want to have it that kind of hamburger way, that flatter way, so that it stays more sturdy. And that might support you in your halfway lift. And even if that's too tall, maybe you have a smaller block. So work with what you got. Maybe, that just helps your feet, to reach the floor if they're not reaching. So I've always mentioned props, but a lot of the time I don't end up using them, and I'm learning to use them more myself because they offer a lot of benefit. I feel better. I can feel the difference in my body when I'm like, oh, I was straining a little bit here. Now I can soften, like I talk about, and really feel my body expand and open and support the practice. So it can be really beneficial. It's not a hindrance. It's not like, oh, I don't need props because that makes me look like silly. I can't do something. They're here for a reason. We have them for a reason. They're beneficial. So if your body is asking about having that prop, go ahead and do it. If you don't have props and you're looking for something else you can use in its place, just let me know. Drop a comment, reach out, and we'll find a way. All right. So we're going to go into these halfway lifts. So as you can see with my knee, like my knee goes a little bit lower. If I don't have the block and with the block, my knees are in alignment with the hips and have that 90-degree angle. So I'm going to use it for my halfway lift. I'm going to take an inhale. I'm going to roll the shoulders back. And then we're going to slowly lengthen through the spine and go into our halfway lift. We're kind of going into a reverse into the Uttanasana. So the halfway lift, we're allowing our belly to eventually land and lower onto the thighs. The hands can rest on the shin, on the thighs. Be mindful of the knees. Be mindful of the tail lengthening behind you to help keep you sturdy and safe in your seat. Take a breath. Now you can hold here. We do have the option to start to lower the hands towards the earth. The upper body is going to follow. And slowly, surely release all the way. Halfway lift. If you're dealing with vertigo, maybe you kept the head lifted the whole time. Inhale up, exhale, Uttanasana, seated forward fold. And halfway lift. Gonna do one more of these reversed forward fold. Exhale, because we're not going all the way down first. We're kind of gently allowing that stretch to enter the body. Decompress the spine. And you're going to slowly roll all the way up. Arms are going to pass through center and make their way to the sky. Inhale up, exhale, palms connect, fall in front of heart. Getting adjustments, hold here, just take a moment of stillness, maybe close the eyes. If you're leaning forward, allow yourself to return to center. If you're leaning backward at an angle, allow yourself to return to center. Just feel the body. Notice, does anything still kind of feel a little, did it bring up something else? We're going to relax the hands now down to thighs or sides of chair or armrests. We're going to find some cows and some cats. Inhaling, find your cow. Exhaling, find your cat. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Return to center slowly after you release from your cat pose. Shake anything out that you need. A little twist if you need. We're going to go up to the shoulders. Take some shoulder rolls. Arms can find a restful place. Shoulder rolls towards the back. And shoulder rolls towards the front. If you're in my French class, levant. Levant. Derrière to the back. Levant, the front, in front of. And find stillness. We're going to go ahead. We're going to expand and lengthen the arms out to sides. Spread those fingers nice and wide, palms facing forward, and then up to sky. Stretch. We're going to open up the chest, take the arms back. We're going to exhale. The arms are going to pass through center, opposite hands to opposite elbows, opposite shoulders, not elbows. My apologies. Elbows are going to be out in front. Nice stretch for eagle arms. We're going to just take a nice side to side. Return to center. Notice which elbow or which arm is on top. You're going to open up, spread those arms nice and wide. Open that chest, take the arms back. Then opposite hand, opposite shoulder once again. Notice the opposite arm, so it should be on top now. So the arm that was on the bottom will be on the top now. And maybe your arms are not placed where mine are. That's okay. Maybe not at all. That's okay. Maybe you're just twisting from side to side and arms are down at your sides or just working with your body. All right, return to center. Bring the arms out nice and wide. Bring them up to sky. Clasp the hands. You can keep the palms facing down or you can raise them towards the earth. Nice long stretch here. Relax the shoulders. Bring it down in front of you, in front of chest. Slow and controlled, whether palms are faced out or faced in, doesn't matter. Stop when you get about shoulder length, shoulder height. and bring it in, close to the chest, elbows bent. We're going to unclasp the hands. They're going to drop down towards the earth. We're going to allow our hands to adjust on our chair. So maybe you go sideways on your seat. Maybe you just move away from the back. Then basically, or maybe your hands just move behind you. Your hands are going to clasp in that lower back. Maybe the hands move towards the back of the seat here. So my hands are going to lengthen. They're moving towards the back of the seat. I'm going to lift my chest, take my upper body forward a bit, and lengthen and stretch down. Shoulders stretch down. Down and away. And then bring it back, release. Clasp the hands in front of chest and heart. Bring it in nice and close again. Lengthen the spine. Take a breath. Extend the arms out like there's a ball in between the body. And just go side to side once again. Our side to side works our core, it works our obliques, it helps us to strengthen. So you might be like, I thought this was yoga for balance. Well, gaining strength in your core will help you with your balance. Working your obliques, working those abdominals, because we're moving from our center. We're moving from our core. We're twisting our lower body. If you notice, my lower body is staying forward. My knees are staying forward. I'm moving, working my obliques. There's a machine that does this at the gym. And you hold it. But instead, sometimes you use your upper body to move, sometimes your lower body. Just a couple more twists here. We're building that strength so that we can help return to center eventually, let go of the arms. We're building our strength in our core so that'll help us with our balance. If we have strong centers, strong grounding, that helps us, especially when we're allowing our weight, that lower area and region, to be our center of gravity to keep us sturdy. We have a strong core that's going to get us through so much, that and our breath. So that's why we're doing a lot of spinal twists, massaging, detoxing, moving, helping our organs, helping our centers, strengthening through our spinal twist and movement. Yeah. So that's that. So if you have a block, you can move it. And so this next one, now that we've built that core strength that we're working on, you have options here. So we're going to go into a starfish pose, and then we're going to open up from starfish into a goddess or horse pose. And we're going to close it in for a moment of rest, and you can really make this one your own. So you do have the option, if you are fully seated, I'm just going to show you how it looks. If you're doing a seated starfish, maybe you only do the arms going out to sides, and then you drop the arms down for cactus or horse pose. If you're doing the lower body, then you're going to maybe want to scooch a little bit back towards the back of the seat. You're going to open the legs, the arms out, maybe the legs even lift. And then you're going to bring it all down so that you have your hips, your lower body a little bit more open for that starfish, or for that horse pose or that goddess pose. Because goddess pose, when we're standing, we're taking the legs out. So we're opening up through the hips and the groin. So you would do that starfish, maybe you lift the arms, the legs. That's going to work that core one last time. And then you drop here, your goddess. That's still going to work that core one last time. And then you rest and release. So you could go here to here. You could go here to here. You could go here to here. Or if you are looking for a little break, you have the option to stand. You would just be mindful coming up out of your seat, shake anything out that you need. We're still working with our balance. So we have the chair. And this kind of reverses it. Instead of focusing so much on the arms, we're focusing more on that lower body when we go into the horse or goddess pose. So you have the option to extend and lengthen and take the arms high. You have the option to take those legs out. And then you could bring the arms down to chair for balance to support you. You could keep the legs in, or if you chose to take them out, you're going to have those toes pointing out in the way, heel pointing in. Be mindful of how much your toes are pointing out. Maybe you really want to open up through that center. You have the option to lift and raise, and then just go down into that goddess or horse. You have the option to check in with that chair. I'm going to tuck that tail in underneath if you do that standing. So I'm going to show a little bit again. I'm going to do mine standing. So get in your place, find your place that you like for this pose, for this stretch. I'm going to take my legs out a little bit more wide. I want my feet connected to the earth. I'm going to inhale away, exhale into goddess and horse. And you don't even have to drop down deep. You really don't have to. We're just working with our balance here. This is going to engage the core. It's going to lengthen our spine. We're going to tuck and drop. Now drop that tail down so that we're not here, but we're here. So you're in that. Your hands could be here, or even here. So find what you need. You're going to start to feel a nice burn here. And then raise up. Find your starfish once again. Exhale. Breathe. Inhale. Exhale. Keep breathing in your goddess once again. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale down into goddess or horse pose. You can even change it up while you're here. This is nice, just as a nice like lower body opener. So you could just allow the arms to rest if you choose. And then rise up, return to standing. Shake out the legs, especially if you did that standing. It's really working those quads, the thighs, all that good stuff. So if you're already seated, shake anything out that you need. I say that a lot. I know. It's kind of my thing. Shake it out. And if you were standing, come back to your seat. Shake it out. And then we're just going to allow ourselves just a moment to like enjoy and relax where we are. If you want to grab your block again, you're more than welcome to do so if that helps you to feel a little more balanced with the lower body. And just to kind of sum up the day and the stretches and things that we did. So we worked our way up instead of down, which is typically what happens in my classes. And we prepped the body, stretching, building strength through our core. And horse or goddess pose, depending on what you like to call it, really tests that. It tests working that strength, working that core, building that core, and seeing where one is at with their core strength. And even like the kind of, you're working kind of with the pelvis when you're tucking the tail, even because you're kind of whoop, moving into this dive. And so it's just all beautiful, all empowering. So you can go ahead and allow your spine to find a restful place on the seat. You can allow your toes to find a restful place. Maybe the knees finally are like, oh, just let me fall out. The knees can fall out now naturally if they choose, or maybe they're just out and down. It's up to you. Body can relax, shoulders can relax if anything feels uncomfortable. Just reset, refine your tail. Allow the crown to soften, the eyes to soften. They can close if you feel safe and sturdy in your space, or the eyes can just float to look at something for a moment. Hands can be in lap, at sides, over heart. It's up to you. And then just take some time for stillness and to just pay attention to your natural breathing, noticing your inhales and exhales, and just being. For noticing your inhales and exhales, eventually the body continues to soften, muscles relax, and the mind hopefully quiets. So if you do not have to rush off to any place particular, go ahead and stay within your moment of peace as long as you'd like. If you do have to head off to something else, be gentle when awakening the body, the toes, the fingers, the ankles, the hands, the legs, the thighs, the arms, chest. Take your time. No rush, no worry. Still breathing, exhaling anything that no longer resonates with you with every inhale, welcoming rejuvenation, renewal, energy, light, and love into the body. And whether you decide to stay and enjoy your moment of peace, or you decide to continue on with your day, may this flow ease you into those things with light, peace, love, and smiles. Namaste. Reach out with any questions. You can find information or how to get a hold of me either in the description or by visiting carmitasmiles.com. Take care.